the ugly. The history of vegetable production dates back thousands of years, evolving alongside human civilization. The modern-day vegetable production increasingly emphasizes sustainability, efficiency, and higher yields, with organic farming, integrated pest management, GAP, and technological innovations like precision agriculture, greenhouse technology, etc., gaining popularity. Vegetable production is an essential part of the food supply chain and plays a significant role in food security, nutrition, the economy, and sustainability. However, this aspect of agriculture has its good, bad, and ugly sides. So today, we'll be looking at the three sides of vegetable production while also discussing strategies to help mitigate the bad and the ugly sides. Our aim is for us farmers to gather enough knowledge, learning from the rich experiences that will be shared here today to enable us make our good efforts better, our bad experiences good, and our ugly experiences pretty. This webinar is organized in conjunction with our partners, Royal Blue Contractors and East West Seed International. I am your host, Folake Aino, the MD of VD&S Farms, VD&S Feed Mill, and VD&S Farmers Center. VD&S Farmers Center is a one-stop input shop for both subsistence and commercial farmers. VD&S Farmers Center is an agrovet center that partners with reputable companies like East West Seed International, Royal Blue Contractors, and the likes to provide high-quality seeds and other products for crop and livestock healthcare needs. The center is involved in the sales, marketing, and distribution of seeds, seedlings, fertilizers, growth media, agrochemicals, biochemicals, irrigation drips and accessories, veterinary medication, vaccines, animal feeds, additives, drugs, biosecurity products, poultry and livestock equipment, and other agricultural inputs with nationwide delivery options. VD&S Farmers Center also offers mentorship, training, consultancy, extension services, and veterinary ambulatory. VD&S Farmers Center is located at number 19 Ajegunle Street, along Ikorodu-Itoikin Road, Temu Ekpe in Lagos. It is opposite Citizens Comprehensive Center in Ekpe. For more information about our products and services, please visit us at www.vdsfarmsonline.com. Our partners, Royal Blue Contractors, is a leading input distribution company in Nigeria. They are involved in the sales of organic and liquid fertilizers, certified seeds, agrochemicals, and other agro inputs. Their services include the provision of mechanized farm implements, value chain support and development, training, logistics, transport services, building, construction, and maintenance, and facilitating finance for smallholder farmers. They are based in Kano. For more information, please visit www.royalbluecontractors.com. We welcome the CEO of Royal Blue Contractors, Mr. Ahmad Mohammed Liman. I don't know if he's here yet. If you're here, you can show us your face. Otherwise, we continue. Okay, so we go into the webinar proper. I'll just quickly read the rules and guidelines before we get in. We would like today to have a seamless and uninterrupted session. So I would please advise the host to mute every participant that is not speaking. Thank you. Questions, comments, clarifications, suggestions, and all should please be typed and sent via chat. We will collate all of this read them out, and respond to them during the question and answer session. Please make your questions brief and clear to understand. And if time permits, we would take contribution or comments from a few people. We would allow them speak before the end of the webinar. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming our first speaker for today, Mr. John Olumide Adeyemi. Mr. Adeyemi is an entrepreneur, agribusiness expert, agricultural advocate, business consultant, and certified trainer. He is the team lead for Go Green Acreage and Consult based in Ilorin in Kwara State. He has his National Diploma in Agricultural Technology from Kwara State Polytechnic in Ilorin. He then obtained his Bachelor in Agriculture Agronomy and MSc Agronomy with Science from the University of Ilorin, and he's currently on his PhD Agronomy in Horticulture and Wheat Science program at the same university. He has worked with several organizations in different capacities, including multi-location farm manager for Sujimoto Estate Farms, multi-location farm manager for Tosweet Seeds Limited, Versa Farms Nigeria Limited as a senior agronomist, University of Ilorin Sugarcane Research Institute as the field technical assistant, Olam Firm, Nakure, the Akure branch, cocoa farmer trainer, Oga Plantation and Sugarcane Farm, Bayelsa Sugarcane Plantation Supervisor, and Destiny Agro Bees and Produce Consultancy in Kwara State as a field consultant. Mr. Adeyemi is a member of the Wheat Science Society of Nigeria, WSSN, a member of the Horticultural Society of Nigeria, HOTSON, and an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Customer Relationship Management, CICRM. Great farmers, if you would like to know the good aspects of vegetable production, please sit back, relax, and enjoy as Mr. Adeyemi takes us on a personal journey. Thank you. Mr. Adeyemi, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I wanted to greet every individuals and farmers and company attending this program this evening. I believe we are all great farmers, and we are here to learn some certain things from each other. Perhaps over the years, I've been talking about it's not all about the good alone that people should be looking after, but the bad and the ugly of the vegetable production. Most farmers are looking after what's it called the good aspects. But in a real sense, these three aspects comes along with your vegetable production. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to talk. While I continue, just like they introduced me, I'm the team lead for Go Green, Archive, and Consulting Launch. Thank you. The next slide, please. The next slide. Hello. This is the next slide. Yeah, thank you very much. So I will be speaking on the good aspect of vegetable production refers to the positive impact and benefits of vegetable farming. We have the nutritional value, which is they contain different type of nutrients that benefits for our body. We all know that we have the vitamin K and co, and we have other aspects of minerals and vitamins that they provide for our body system. And we have the food security, which is the major one that I will be talking about, today. No, we have the sustainable farming practice, which encourage different farmers all over the world to practice this vegetable production. And we have the economic benefits, We all know that it contributes to the GDP of a country or the in the nation whereby the vegetable production is being produced. We have great connectivity and through here through trainings I was able to know Mrs. Olaika and know Uncle. Through trainings I was able to connect with other colleagues around the nation from Kano, from Maduguri, from Benue State, from Plateau, from Delta State and so many like that. Then climate change mitigation. Vegetable production have been able to have really helped us to mitigate all this climate change by setting up our irrigation system, like using your precision agronomists, like drip tape, like what's it called, rain tube, and others. Then we have that of the what's it called, innovative technologies like vegetable production have really helped us in what in creative innovative technology that assist farmers in overcome some certain things. Like for example, now we can talk about using Venturi to apply your fertilizer instead of employing more hands to apply fertilizer on your field. People have deployed so many what innovative, like people growing their vegetable vertically using hydroponics and aeroponics. That's the beauty and the good of vegetable production. Then by the advantage of a knowledge impact, different people come together to share their impact, to share their knowledge, the natural way of cultivating it, the advanced way of cultivating it, whereby people benefit more in cultivating of a vegetable production. You can hear from different people. I use this so system to work to cultivate my vegetable. Some people will tell you I use so system to cultivate my own vegetable. This what vegetable production have bring to the community and to the nation entirely. Because in a diverse knowledge, people try as much as possible to share their knowledge, to share their experience. Like we can see in so many vegetable groups in Nigeria, that people will ask questions and this one will say, oh, this is how I do it. So thereby people are gaining knowledge. Then by community development, no, like recently the what's it called, the East West Seed has their feed day in Ogun State, whereby people go there to benefit, where they pick up some knowledge to go and develop their community by growing the vegetable. Thank you very much. The next slide, please. Yes, thank you. Like I've rightly said, vegetables are packed with essential nutrients, which include your vitamin, your minerals, your antioxidants, and your phytochemical. They provide numerous health benefits, such as reducing the risk of chronic disease like heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancer. You understand? When you take your what's it called, your sweet pepper, you already know that this is what you are getting. And when you take your carrots, you already know this this thing brings numerous these essential nutrients for our body system, making us to look fresh and do away from junk food. Junk food have give us some bad diseases and cancer to our body system. But once you take your vegetable in a natural form, or process, you already know that you are getting a quality nutrient to your body system. Thank you very much. The next slide. The next slide, please. Yes, as you can see from here, vegetable like food security, as you can see me from the picture over there, this is platinum F1, which means that availability of this vegetable to market help us grow our economy. Like we everybody can testify to it, and over the years that growing some of these East West products like platinum, like what's it called, gringo, can give you economic growth and steady supply. You already know that this is the yield is given to you. So that is why I say availability. You can see in the market today, they will ask you which product, say gringo is in the market, platinum is in the market, because what they provide us available of these things in abundance. Once the vegetable can give you a good yield. You already know that in the market there will be abundance of it. It will be readily available to be supplied to market. Then the economic growth, like people can see now, of recently people are cashing out, and thereby people are doing development with their community, which means that it's increasing what our GDP, because they can see people are saying that people are cashing out during this tomato period, thereby they are able to supply this vegetable to the market, despite that there's a challenge of a heat blow from the ocean wave. But and because of this, people cultivate these things so that it can be available for supply in the market. We have the sustainability, like the RO, the return on the investment. No, the return on the investment in vegetable farming is a very crazy one, whereby it makes people to go into it. It makes people to invest more in it. Where I was discussing with people yesterday when they visited my farm that cultivating a vegetable can make your what can give you a good return on your investment. Imagine you are planning like, okay, I was expecting 100% on my vegetable cultivation, and at the end 160 return, you will be happy because this is not what you are expecting, and this is what vegetable can give to you, and that's the good aspect about vegetable production. Like also the success also will make you ginger to do more. Like production, he was not expecting the return on the investment. The success from that cucumber make him to venture more into what? Into the vegetable production, and thereby diverting to other crops also. Then the income, it creates income to both the farm owners and the workers also. The job creation of it, that's the beautification again. You can see that vegetable have create more jobs in a recent economy than any other crops. You can see people opening their agro store because of vegetable production. You can see people improving their knowledge because of consultation. You can see people opening their farm because of this vegetable. Vegetable is an inevitable in Nigeria. You can't do in a day without eating vegetable. You can never. I was discussing with some of my colleagues, that was last week. I said, I know a particular house that in a month they cannot eat, in a month they may not eat meat. But vegetable is inevitable. Every day everybody must eat it. And this is one of the good aspects of vegetable production. Accessibility. You can see the vegetable is accessible to everybody. You can go to market, the first thing you see is your vegetable. You talk about your tomato, your cucumber, your sweet pepper, your habanero, your onions. That's the first thing you first sight inside market when you enter, which means that it's more accessible vegetable production. Then avoidable, irrespective of how high the price is, you can still avoid to buy it because what it's produced in high in its production is more high, like it's produced in numerous, unlike your normal conda, your arable crops that you just harvest once. Vegetable is not like that. Vegetable is not a thing that you can just harvest one and go away. You will still go back there to the harvest at least up to 3 to 4 to harvest your vegetable, making it avoidable for people to buy. The investment, people are considering vegetable production as an investment now. I do tell people a persistent farming is now what an investment where you take day in, day out a record of what you spend in your farm. And that is why we consider it as an investment, elevating people from poverty level to what to a wealthy level. There as an export product, that's another good aspect of vegetable production. People now are engaging in exporting of vegetables. You know, like I was discussing with a colleague like Jimo Damilola was saying that one of his mentors wanted to like export what's it called, tomato. this is another good aspect to make money from vegetable production, and is a very good thing that people vegetable are now opening people's eyes different what's it called, into different investment. You understand, ways of cashing out. Then stability, price stability. You can see people can deduce when vegetable will be high and when it will be low and when it will be moderate. That is what they call price stability. It's not that vegetable maybe this year it will just crash in another way. No, people can always say that by this so month the vegetable will increase. By this so month it will reduce, thereby preparing people's mind to cultivate this vegetable. This is another good way of what of this another good way of cultivating. I'm almost out of time. Please, you can help me. The next slide. The next slide. The next slide, please. Please, the next slide. Please, the next slide. Thank. Please, the next slide. Thank you very much. Sustainability. That is sustainable farming practice. Vegetable production have given people ways to farm it, like your organic farming, your good agronomic practice. When you put it in place, you know you are what you are cashing out. Then soil replenishment. You can see once people engage in what once people engage in organic farming, they know that they are sustaining their what their soil, they are replenishing it. And crop rotation. Once you carry out the activities of one particular crop, like a senior colleague from Sapele was saying, after you remove your tomato, the best thing is to replace it with your cucumber. That is about diversity. That is what minimizing and pest reduction. People are find ways in reducing pests through what vegetable production. Then the minimum tillage, soil conservation and water conservation, just like I made mention of. The drip tape installation and other means have helped minimize water wastage. You understand? By what? By utilizing the water properly for your crop. Then vegetative agriculture, we can see renewable energy. Vegetable production have helped, like Mr. Kule was discussing in one of the groups, that he now install solar in his farm to cultivate his vegetable. That is the beauty of vegetable production. Then which promotes good soil health, the biodiversity, and efficient water usage. You can see so many people have stopped using harmful chemicals to our soil because what they wanted to like cultivate vegetable. Thank you very much. With this reason, I believe every individual will be able to see the reason why they should go into vegetable production. Thank you very much, and thanks for listening.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Adeyemi. With that, with that picture, I want to follow you to the bank because I think right now you are cashing in on the tomatoes. 130% return on investment. Good one. Thank you very much for sharing. And thank you for coming on the program. So, Mr. Adeyemi has just taken us on the good side of vegetable production. So we're going to go on to the next speaker now, Dr. Usman Ibrahim. Dr. Ibrahim is an associate professor of agronomy and Provost of Samaru College of Agriculture, Division of Agricultural Colleges, Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. He was a visiting scholar at Harvard University, USA, and a guest speaker at the Virginia State University, February 2022 STEAM H seminar. He is currently a consultant to the IITA Innovative Youth in Agriculture, iYouth project in Nigeria. Dr. Usman has over 12 years of teaching experience and has successfully supervised several students at the National Diploma, Higher National Diploma, Bachelor of Agriculture, and postgraduate levels. He has been able to disseminate the output of his research, 132 articles, in peer-reviewed journals and at local and international conferences. He is the immediate past president in council and a fellow of the Horticultural Society of Nigeria, and is now the Nigerian coordinator of Agriculture to Nutrition Community of Practice. He has served on various committees and held leadership positions within and outside the university. Before joining the university in 2011, he had 10 years work experience in seed and crop production, seeds and pesticide brand management, trade marketing, marketing strategy, and team building. He is an alumnus of Ahmadu Bello University, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Lagos Business School, University of Michigan, Northwestern University, the International Exchange Alumni Network, and the Longwood Fellows Program. Wow. Dr. Usman has seen it all. My dear great farmers, you will agree with me that with such an impressive profile, Dr. Usman is highly qualified to speak on this topic. He will be presenting to us the bad aspects of vegetable production. Thank you, Dr. Usman. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here with my daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, to join the webinar. And so
Hi,
you'll be seeing. So can I have the slide, please? Or should I share it from here?
Our host. Do you want Dr. Usman to project his slides?
Okay, so I came from Samaru College of Agriculture.
Yes.
Which is about.
Sorry, are you projecting? Okay, you can project. Please project Dr. Usman. Thank you.
Okay, so I have to look for the slide. Okay, so I work at Samaru College of Agriculture, which is our 100 years old, where we train. Please, could you share the slide for me? Doesn't look like I'm prepared for that. Yeah.
Yeah, finish.
So Samaru College of Agriculture trains middle-level manpower in agricultural development in Nigeria. Just like the first speaker gave a very interesting presentation on the good sides of vegetable production. Everyone wants to be a farmer. Definitely with this, I want to produce vegetables. Unfortunately, not everything that's, every good thing has its own bad sides. And so we'll be looking at the bad side and what is the meaning of the bad side. Second slide. So when we say bad, what do you understand by the word bad? I've tried to look at the English definition of bad so that we can understand what I mean when I say bad. You might want to play, once I finish reading this, you might want to help me play the YouTube for us to understand the concept of bad. Firstly, bad means poor quality or low standard, not such as to be hoped for or desired, unpleasant or unwelcome, failing to conform to the standard of moral virtues, standard or acceptable conduct. Bad could also mean that part of a body is injured, diseased, or painful. Bad could also mean that a food is decayed or botryed. Bad could also mean that it's something that is regretful, guilty, ashamed about something, or worthless. So if you look at all these definitions, it's trying to show the other side, that is the negative side of vegetable production. What can make it bad? Can we listen to this, the definition of bad as an interlude?
Yes.
Okay. Can you click yes? Okay, so you can go to the next slide if you are not able to click the YouTube. So can we say vegetable production is bad in Nigeria? That is a big question. Bad is usually measured in terms of poor yield, quality, quantity, and economic loss. So when we say something is bad, it means that the yield is either low, or the yield is not good, or there is an economic loss in production. Imagine if you invest 1 million and you get 300,000. I've seen somebody who invested in the production of tomato, hoping that he's going to get a high rate of return. This person lost completely. He could not even harvest even one basket of tomato from an acre. That's 0.4 hectare. So you can imagine, that kind of person asking him to come over, to come and go into vegetable production. Another way to measure bad is when the yield decline, when the quality of yield is poor, is either diseased or is wrinkled or it gets bad. So these are measures for bad, and that's the area I want us to look at. That's the poor yield, in terms of quality, quantity, and then the economic loss in terms of production. In Nigeria, yield declines are one of the major challenges faced by farmers. So when we said farmers are not making profit, of course, we are already talking about, the bad aspect. It means that they are spending a lot. Some farmers produce and they are not making profit. Today, farming is more like a norm. Even most of my colleagues who still farm says, well, they are not making so much, but they just want to keep farming. They not that they want to keep farming, they are hoping that they can make it. But currently, they are getting the bad side of the farming. And so, for them who are not making profit, it could be attributed to a lack of adequate skills in the production of vegetables. Because vegetable production requires you knowing the skills. There must be certain skills that you must possess before you can profitably make money in vegetable. And as the first presenter will say, as he said, he has interacted and learned from different people all over the country. And that, has supported him to become a successful vegetable farmer. And so for us to be able to get to the good side, a vegetable farmer must know how to produce seedling, raise the seedling, understand the pre and post harvest management. And when all these things are not put in place, then we can always say we have the bad side of vegetable production. And this is something that is very common among farmers, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, where I'm working. A lot of farmers are still not making enough, enough profit as it is expected. Can we go to the next slide? So the next slide, but I want to ask this question. Is there anybody who is currently making a lot of money from, vegetable production? Just go to the next slide, the fourth slide. Is there anybody that's making a lot of money from vegetable production? Can anybody just unmute and say yes or no?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Tomato
Yes,
farmers. Tomatoes farmers are making a lot of money now, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
there are some people making a lot of money from vegetable production.
Okay. Okay, so we are getting more of the. Okay, so thank you. You can mute.
That's
So
an
that
assumption.
No,
So-
it's not an assumption, it's real.
Okay, so I think let's just discuss it at this level this week. Can we all mute our? So I must be honest with you, just like I said earlier, most farmers are still hopeful that they can become profitable. Not that most of them are making profit. There are few exceptions that are making profit, and we have all know the reasons why they are making profit, or we are going to discuss that before the end of my presentation. So one of the problem, what can lead to bad production? Yeah, yes. Somebody says because you are working from the seed company. So one, and that is true because you have already been trained. We'll discuss the reason why you are making profit. The first one is lack of adequate skills in the production of vegetables. The moment you don't have the required skill, then the result of your vegetable production will always be very poor. It's going to be a bad and poor experience. So first of all, for us to be able to make a profitable production, there must be sorry to say, the reasons for bad production is poor site and land preparation. I can see that some farmers, or most farmers, do not prepare their land adequately. Some of them do not select the right place where they need to farm. Some of them do not do the standard region. Some, the beddings, the spacing are not adequately, followed. And so once this land foresight and land preparation is missed, then there's always going to be a bad experience. Another problem is time of planting. For you, one of the reasons or one of the causes of bad production is wrong timing of planting. You need to know the right time to plant. In terms of, the agronomists, and in terms of the profitability, you can plant at the time that the vegetable will grow, but the market may not be good. So you must be able to time the market so that you don't produce your vegetable at 10,000, your tomatoes, for example, and you are selling at 5,000, which is, we all know, is happening here. So you must time, when you produce at 5,000, you can sell at 50,000. So time of planting is also a problem. And that is when you see a lot of people, when you travel between Zaria and Kano, you see a lot of people having tomatoes, looking for people to buy it at any price. This is a bad experience. The other problem is pest and disease management. Just like I gave example of a friend who invested and then the whole farm was ravaged by diseases and pests. And so it was a bad experience. He invested, that was the first time he invested close to 2 million. And then he was not able to. In fact, he left the farm. He didn't even harvest anything. Poor water and nutrient management. Once this is not adhered to, definitely the farmer will not be able to make anything good from it. It's always going to be a bad experience. So there must be adequate water in terms of rainfall or irrigation. There must also be nutrient management. What are the nutrient requirements for the crop? You must know what amount and when and how do you apply this nutrient. When these are not done, it's always going to lead to bad experience. The other aspect is marketing. This is where most of the farmers have problem. How do we market? I've seen time where farmers, they didn't plan for the marketing. They have learned how to produce. They say somebody is making 1 billion and, they want to make the money and then they produce. Now it comes to time of harvesting and there is nobody to sell to. They now begin to sell at any price. They have made good yield, but, poor marketing. So this is also a very, a very bad aspect of vegetable production. The other aspect is post-harvest management. We all know that horticultural crop generally, one of the major problems of horticultural crop is post-harvest management. How we're able to, from harvesting to, processing, how well are we able to, to salvage these products. If you see the picture up, you will realize that most of the vegetables, even from the feed, they're already rotting. I don't know if you see this bacteria weight and some of all these fungus already on the even on the seeds, on the fruits. So I can imagine who will buy this esha, or you call it what in Yoruba. So this is a major problem that we also experience, at harvest. So there is also poor harvest management. Can you see the dustbin? This is how most vegetables end up. Some end up in the dustbin, some end up, on the farm. And then another problem or another bad side is processing and value addition. Up to now, most of us have not been able to process and add value to our vegetables. And that is a major problem. As long as we are only producing to sell, then we might be experienced when there is no adequate marketing, and then we might likely be experiencing all these bad experiences. So it is very important for farmers to understand what needs to be done. How do you need to market? And then we must have a good, simple processing and value addition. The last time we produced, I think it was in March, the learning site from East West, I bought some tomatoes, and I want to tell you that these tomatoes are here. I have one here, which is grounded. We dried it, and when it was dried, we grounded them. So it's in powder form. We are using it now. Some in paste form, they are in the freezer. And so during Salah, when tomato became, so expensive, what we needed was to buy fresh tomatoes, and then add both the dry and the paste. And that was how we were able to do the salad. I can only imagine how we were able to buy the tomato at that time. And so these are what is leading to the bad experience. As long as we are not able to curtail this problem, then farmers will not be able to move away from this bad experience. Next slide, please. Beyond the concept of profitability, yield and profitability. Can I have this next slide ahead? Beyond the yield, poor production of vegetable also has a lot of detrimental impacts on the natural environment. And it might look like, yes, we are making money, but in the long run, sometimes it also has, some detrimental effect even to our environment. You can imagine this picture, the kind of gases that is being emitted from methane, carbon dioxide that has been emitted from these rotten vegetables. And this is, go to any market, go to any vegetable market in Nigeria, you will see this picture. It's a common picture that you will see. And the amount of gases, greenhouse gases that is emitted from this is so much that is causing climate change. You can also look at this picture up. You will realize that because of poor drainage, poor irrigation system, you can see that it's already affecting the land. So poor production of vegetable can lead to environmental degradation, land degradation, and even the societal, dimension. For example, if you do a lot of exotic plant species, which are good, of course, but if we are not careful, it will take over our indigenous varieties or cultivars. And if this happens, and anything happened to these exotic varieties, what happened to our indigenous varieties which we have left? So vegetable production also has, this negative side. Can I look at the next 1, 2 more slides so that I can round up? Now, how to avoid the bad experience? How to avoid the bad experience before it gets ugly? 1, for sustainable, profitable vegetable productions, farmer needs continuous training. So it's not one-off training. I've trained them. I love the trainings that have been organized by Eastmead and other companies. They are like, in our interaction, they have training during the seedling production, seedling during the land preparation. So this training at all these stages, they are very important. And it cannot also be one-off. It has to be continuous. And so this will help in the agronomy. And then farmer will understand the best practices to improve vegetable production. Another aspect I didn't mention is aspect of pest management, where there is uncontrolled application of pesticides, in vegetable. A lot of pesticides is used, which is very dangerous and detrimental to our health. So farmer needs to understand when and how to apply pests and pesticide. The other aspect is capacity building to boost the entrepreneurial aspect. Apart from even knowing how to grow, just like I've said, after you grow, how do you market it? You need to know how to market it. How do you move your product? When do you market? When do you get the best value for your product? You don't sell tomato when everybody is selling. You are not Mr. Everybody. You have to be Mr. Special. You must understand when you have the highest value. And how do you get it to the market? You need to calculate all these logistics. You need to make contact. So there is a need for you to understand these dynamics. The other aspect is value addition. We must begin to learn how we add value to our vegetable, tomato, carrots, cucumber, onion. All these products can be packaged. When you harvest, you don't need to rush to sell them. Even if you are selling when everybody is selling, you can keep it. Today I have dry tomatoes. I can sell it at my price. I have paste tomato. I can sell it at my price if I want to do. And so I'm also learning that by next, I'm going to make, what I've done is just like, an experiment. So I want to start selling dry tomato. Maybe from next year, you can reach out to me for samples. But, you need to understand even how to do it. So this is how to avoid the bad. Of course, it's obvious that there are a lot of bad experiences. And so having a sustainable training is one of the measures and the best way to do it. And understanding the markets, and then having skills on how to add value. Maybe in other interaction, we might look at different crops on how to process and add value to them. I'll be happy to share some of my experiences with you on different crops. The last slide, please. This last slide seems to be the most important, and that is the thank you slide. So I want to thank you for listening. I'm not sure if I've taken more. I think I've taken more than the time allocated to me. I appreciate your time. It's worth it. Thank you for inviting me. And please, if you have any problem as to your tomato, you can also reach out to our college. If you want students to work for you, we have students who have graduated and they have learned a lot from all this interaction. Thank you.
Bad.
So much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Usman. Thank you so much for expounding on that topic for us. so many bad aspects that can be avoided. Thank you. We will go. I don't know if okay, the video on the bad, I think. Okay, great.
Bad. Adjective. Of poor quality or a low standard. Not such as to be hoped for or desired. Unpleasant or unwelcome. Failing to conform to standards of moral virtue or acceptable conduct. Of a part of the body. Injured, diseased, or painful. Of food. Decayed, putrid. Regretful, guilty, or ashamed about something. Worthless, not valid. Bad. Adverb. Badly.
I think that's the end. Can you just mute that, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Bad.
Thank you so much, Dr. Usman. Please, everyone, you can send in your questions to the chats. As soon as we're taking the question and answer session, we'll take your questions. So keep your questions, just keep them coming in. So we'll take them together at once. And if you'd like to join our mailing list, I think it's the message is already on the chat. You can give us send in your telephone number, WhatsApp telephone number, and your email address. Thank you all so much. Now we introduce the third speaker. We've spoken already about the good aspects of vegetable production, the bad aspects of vegetable production, and we're now going into the ugly aspects. Dr. Usman has said that it's better for us to prevent it while it's bad before it gets to the ugly. But for many of us, we get to the ugly aspects. So now I would like to introduce Mr. Ishaku Samaila Jilemsan. He is the founder and regional chairman of the North Central Commodities Association, NOCCAS, a non-governmental organization he founded in 2019. He is the National Vice President, North Central of National Rice Producers, Processors, Millers, and Marketers Association of Nigeria, NARPP-MMAN, and an Executive Director of Association of Northern Agricultural and Allied Practitioners, ANAACOP. He holds several certifications. NSC Physics Chemistry obtained from College of Education, Akwanga in 1992. BTech Industrial Chemistry obtained from ATBU Bauchi in 1999. MBA from London Metropolitan University in 2004. MSc on Systems in can you please mute all participants, please, host? Thank you. So MBA from London Metropolitan University in 2004. MSc Information Systems 2009 from the University of Aberdeen, and both basic and advanced certificates for Center for Management Development in 2021. Mr. Jilemsan has been the managing director of 2 real estate firms, Delta Han and Schwartang, between 2010 to 2017, management consultant at Yewa Club in Jos, head project monitoring, reporting, and remediation office, HPMRO of Nigeria, incentive-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending, NASR. He is a fellow of the Institute of the Management Consultants, INC, and a Chartered Management Consultant, CMC. He currently serves as the lead consultant and managing director of Schwartung Integrated Services Limited and an advisor for Guide Point, New York. He is also a lead facilitator at the Institute for National Transformation, INT, an NGO with footprints in Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, Israel, United Kingdom, and the United States of America. He has work experience from several organizations within and outside Nigeria, such as the Nigerian Ministry of Defense, Tony Jeffs McDonald's, Angel Islington, London, Dominion Center, Wood Green, London, Middle East Consultants, MEC International, Piccadilly Circus, London, Asda Supermarkets, and Schlumberger in both Aberdeen and Aberdeen, Scotland. He currently serves as the Program Manager, Plateau Agricultural Development Program, PADP. His passion is to see visible transformation of systems and management of change to make organizations more productive and functional, especially in the agricultural sector. Talk about a well-rounded profile. Mr. Gilemsem will be sharing with us today the ugly experiences one may encounter in vegetable production. Mr. Gilemsem, you have the floor. Thank you. Mr. Gilemsem? Mr. Gilemsem? Host, do you want to check? I don't know if he's having challenges with his network. Host, can you please check to see if Mr. Gilemsam's network is okay? Can't seem to hear him or see him.
Mr. Gilemsam seems to be having network connection. He will join us in a moment, please.
Okay, while we wait for him, do you please would you please share the video for the good production that Mr. Vegetable production that Mr. Adeyemi spoke about while we wait? Okay, is it in yet? So I think we may have to go on to the next presentation because of time, which is the mitigation strategies for vegetable production. I think we should take that while we wait for Mr. Jilemsam.
Better seeds make a better world. What will our world be like 50 years from now? What are the most urgent needs of the farmers? How do we get better seeds that will work in that environment? That is the prime motivation. More food, and better farmers.
In this huge world of global agriculture, you have recognized the small guys, the vegetable farmers of Asia, Africa, and Latin America.
Pioneering is constant looking for improvements. The better seeds we developed for the Philippine farmers took a long time to be accepted, but it did happen. We did it. I think we are in general more creative than most other companies. We have more interest in exploring unknown territories of development. We have so many options now to widen our impact outside of Southeast Asia, Latin America, and also in Africa. So we are now beginning a more global company operating in 3 of the major parts of the world. It took quite a while to convince farmers that spending money for better seeds was in their own interest. We have to give them the tools, better seeds, better genetics, better farming systems, better knowledge in general.
Thank you. Mr. Jilemsam is in now. He's having challenges with his network, but he's in now. So, Mr. Jilemsam, you have the floor. You have already been introduced. Thank you. You can unmute yourself, Mr. Jilemsam, and speak. Thank you. Can you hear me, Mr. Jilemsam?
Oh, finally.
Great.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's my pleasure to join you this evening to discuss this very important topic, vegetable production, the ugly side of it. As already mentioned, my name is Ishaku Jilemsam. I'm the program manager, Plateau Agricultural Development Program. One shocking thing that hit me as I was preparing for this presentation is the news on the guard
Network.
of 1st May 2020.
Is really having challenges with his network. We'll just give him a few minutes, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I'm so sorry about that.
No worries.
I was saying that the US Consul General recently in Enugu said that Nigeria loses $9 billion yearly due to post-harvest waste. That is a shocking amount. That is an ugly thing. Seriously. And why do we have these losses? Farmers have identified major causes of losses as losses to pest. About 94.9% of the losses that farmers experience due to pest. About 81.6% due to disease. Lack of storage facility accounts for 80.6%, and poor handling of vegetable products accounts for 71.4% of losses. I think this is ugly as well. After all is said and done, you go home with nothing. I'm now on the 3rd slide, or let me say the 4th slide. Okay. If you see that image, see our friends there on the tomatoes. Look at what they've done to the tomatoes. If this happens on your farm, I think it's an ugly thing for anyone to experience. So as I mentioned earlier, pest and disease account for a chunk of the losses that farmers encounter. Talking about post-harvest, after all the suffering, after all the hard work, excuse me, there's noise at the background.
The device is muted already.
Okay. So I was saying that after all the hard work, I don't think it's good for anyone to lose all their investment. But why do farmers experience these losses in the first place? One of the challenges is they go and plant all at once. And that means they're going to harvest all at once. So there will be glut. There will be a lot of that product in the market. Another reason is poor harvest practices. The next slide now. Poor harvest practices. The way we harvest vegetables is far from the standard practice. This also accounts for part of the losses that farmers experience. There's what is called field heat. Ideally, when vegetables are harvested, they should be taken to cold storage immediately. But you see farmers just put them in the basket and they're already moving them in their trucks on their way to the market without taking out the field heat. That field heat already contributes to the rotting of the products. Then poor sanitation. If you see how they treat these products, is handled in unsanitary conditions. So it's part of the reasons that they have these ugly situations. Then there are poor storage facilities. This is a general problem. If we go to the next slide, you will see an ugly situation that results from poor handling, that results from lack of storage facilities, and that results from our practices. It is such an unfortunate thing to go through all the hard work and then lose all your harvest due to these challenges that we are talking about. Talking about poor handling, the next slide now, poor handling and poor infrastructure. We quickly go to the next slide and see the challenges that we have with the infrastructure. I'm sure you have seen situations like this around the country. So vegetable products have very short shelf life, and then you're transporting, especially from one part of the country to another, and there's a vehicle breakdown, or because of the roads, you're unable to get there early. What do you think will happen to the vegetable? It's going to go bad. So poor infrastructure contributes to post-harvest loss, and it creates ugly situations for farmers. We have a lot of circumstances that can also lead to losses. For instance, the next slide, we have flood. If you cast your mind back to 2022, when there was flood all over the country, and you remember this gridlock at Lokoja, or Kotonkarfe to be precise, the bridge there. Vehicles were stuck in that place for many days and weeks. So if any one of them was carrying vegetable products, because of poor handling, because of poor infrastructure, no storage facilities, that would go bad. Then we have challenges with drought because of climate change now. Nobody is so certain about the weather again. Sometimes we go for 2 weeks without rain, and without irrigation facilities, we will have ugly situations. Then the pandemic, you remember what happened? The pandemic, COVID-19, people were unable to go out and take care of their farms. So that resulted in very ugly situations. And then we also have theft. I did not include this in the slide. I thought about one ugly situation that we had on the farm in 2020, where our cucumber was harvested entirely. I did not take one cucumber after the whole season. It was harvested in the night. So that's an ugly situation. Then another ugly situation is the middlemen. So I remember the experience of a friend of mine who cultivated carrots. He took it to, there's a market we call Faringada in Jos. He took the carrots to Faringada, and the middleman said, Nakama, that is, this is mine now, I'm in charge. So he went into the market, negotiated the price of a bag of carrots each for 7,000 naira, came out and offered the farmer 3,000 naira per bag. So the middleman made 4,000 naira per bag then without doing anything. And the farmer made 3,000 naira per bag. I think that's an ugly situation. If you go to the next slide, you see a pictorial of an ugly situation, the flood, natural disaster, as we talked about earlier. This has happened to farmers. And on the plateau, we consider vegetable, potato as a vegetable. So last year, there were instances where some farmers committed suicide because of the loss that they experienced due to disease. So it's terrible. Quite interesting. The gentleman who did the first presentation gave us a very good picture of how good it is to go into vegetable production. I'm not here to discourage. I'm not a wet blanket, but I'm here to say that there would be ugly situations. And that's why we need companies like East West Seeds, who are there to help, who are there to guide. We met recently, and I think our lives will never remain the same again. I'm not doing marketing for them, but I'm just telling my story that East West impacted our lives, and we know that some of our challenges will be mitigated. And I'd like to end with this quote, which says, most of the problems in life, next slide, most of the problems in life come because of two reasons. We act without thinking, and we keep thinking without acting. An anonymous person. So as we go into our production, as we act, we should think that some situations can come up that are ugly. But let's not keep thinking about these ugly situations without acting. That's what I'll say today. As you go on with your production, make sure you think, but don't keep thinking without acting. On this note, I'd like to say thank you very much for giving me this chance. Next slide. You'll see my thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jilem Sam, for your presentation. I've really seen some very, very ugly experiences. I love the one of the middlemen because I don't know if we can do without them, but hey, they're in every aspect of agriculture. So, and I'm glad we're discussing this because, everybody says go into farming, go into agric. That's the way to go. Feed the nation, feed the nation. There's whatever, there's crisis, food crisis and all that. But we go in, like the speakers before you have said, we're happy to go in. We're expectant. Dr. Osman said it. We're expectant. And we come out, we encounter these bad situations, we encounter very ugly situations. And I'm happy we're having this today because it gives us an opportunity to see how we can mitigate this. We may not be able to fully eradicate the bad and the ugly, but we will be able to, talk about some mitigating strategies, which we would go into right now. The next presenter is Hadiza Yaro. She's the country manager for East West Seed Nigeria. She's an agronomist and marketer involved in market development. Hadiza studied at the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, from 1999 to 2005, where she obtained B.Agric degree. Similarly, she obtained a postgraduate diploma in education from the National Teachers Institute in 2008. She attended Nigerian Defense Academy from 2013 to 2014 to obtain a master's degree program in development study. She also obtained a Master of Science degree in agronomy from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria in 2015. She went on to the Salford University in the United Kingdom for a master's degree in marketing. She attended the Wageningen University and Research Netherlands from 2020 to 2021 for certification in vegetable production. She studied food security at the Galilee International Management Institute in Israel in 2023. She was bestowed with a mini MBA at the Agribusiness Academy, London in 2023. She's currently rounding up a PhD degree program in agronomy at the Ahmadu Bello University and an MBA degree in food security at the Business School, Netherlands. She has excelled in the world of agribusiness project management, analyzing of economic performance of value chains, analyzing business ideas, brokering, strategic planning, business acumen, capitalization of experience, development of impact indicators, promotion of women and youth involvement in agribusiness clusters and value chain development. She supports farmers' organization in setting up demonstrations and elaboration of business. She is involved in sales and marketing, customer engagement, forecasting, training on vegetable production, as well as training of agro dealers and development of emerging markets. A notable achievement is the transformation of the horticultural landscape in Nigeria, with an impact on over 30,000 smallholder farmers in Nigeria through the training and networking of 126 East-West seed agro-input dealers. She conducted remarkable training for farmers, for farm managers and students of agriculture, and supported the development of many horticultural farms. In October 2023, Hadiza, in collaboration with Samaru College of Agriculture, Ahmadu Bello University, staged an international field day to showcase 24 crops and 45 varieties of East-West seed, with over 600 participants from Europe and 7 African countries. She is a fellow of the Horticultural Society of Nigeria, HOTASEN, a fellow Institute of Agribusiness Management Nigeria, IAMN, and the International Society for Horticultural Science, ISHS. So without further ado, I would like to call on Mrs. Hadiza Yaro to discuss the mitigating strategies for vegetable production. Hadiza, you have the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Can I please have the slides on? Okay. Next slide. I can start from the next slide. Next slide, please. A step back. No, please go back. Back again. Okay, thank you very much. I have 2 pictures displayed on the screen. They don't look too good. They're not happy pictures, so to say. Contrary to what the first speaker had presented, it looks all good and rosy. But for the second and third speaker, if you listen carefully, you get a little bit scared. It's like 1/3 looks good, 2/3 looks very bad. So if you see the caption on this slide, I have run away. When you see this kind of a scenario in the field, it tells you 1,000 reasons why people abandon agriculture. The first slide, you can actually see good investment. The guy has invested in greenhouse, but of course, looking at it, it looks all abandoned for more than a season, probably. And the next picture close to it was a picture I picked in Kano. That was when we had the outbreak of Tuta absoluta a couple of years ago. At that point, farmers had to abandon their fields. We heard very well from the speakers, the bad and the ugly, where our friends, the pests and diseases, constitute a nuisance, and if you're not careful, they send you packing from your field. So these are scenarios which we see physically in the field. It's real. And a great percentage of people who invest in agriculture get their fingers burned, that it looks as if they shouldn't invest again. But then this is one side of the story. There are people who are enjoying agriculture, who are smiling to the bank, who are breaking even, who will want to invest over and over again. Next slide, please. Can you hear me, please? Can I have the third slide? Okay. So on the third slide, I have the 7 R's in risk management. Of course, the point of discussion at this point is mitigating our risks, meaning we want the good side of the story. We want to mitigate the bad and the ugly. And in doing this, for whatever activity you will carry on in agriculture, you have to pay attention to one, you have to recognize the risks you're going into, be it tomato production, be it cucumber production, cabbage production, whatever vegetable you're growing. Recognition of risk will be the first thing you think about. Because if you don't even recognize the risks, then you don't get prepared for it, and then you cannot even mitigate it. I give you this example. A lot of people go into wet season farming. And in wet season farming, most people don't bother at all to put in or to set aside resources to put in their drip facility. You might not go even that far. But to say there is a plan B, peradventure there is a dry spell, or there is a drought, there is a source of water to sustain those plants for a period of 1 week, 2 weeks, or even a month. So if you are able to count your cost and you list all the risks and you have all the mitigating steps you will need to take, then that is one sure way to minimize your risks. The second one is to rank the risks. And in ranking it, you need to know which are of priority to you and which is of less importance. And you need to take care of the big ones. Because if the big ones happen, it will actually be a very big disaster. If you heard when Dr. Usman was talking, he kept mentioning his friend, and I know he has told me this story over and over again. It's real. The next one has to do with responding to the significant risks, because if you cannot respond to it, then please don't go into farming. You need resourcing controls as well. You need to know what are the resources that you need and what are the controls, checks and balances you need to place peradventure there is an issue. You also need to react to events, probably in your vegetable production, and also the planning, which is an important component I will be discussing further. Most people don't take record keeping very important, but in production or in businesses, keeping record helps a long way. Most people don't like the reporting aspect. We all have experiences of maybe farm workers or people in our organization. The moment you speak about report is the moment you are scaring them. They don't want that part. They like the salaries, they like the pay, but please don't ask for report. But then it will be a disaster for any business to set up without putting reports in place, because you will not have your history, you will not have a track record. And of course, if you don't have that, then it's very difficult to take any kind of decision, because you need to have a reflection of the past and look at trends. And from the trends, you should be able to take very good decisions. Next has to do with reviewing the risk management cycle, because it's a cycle, the whole system. Meaning if you start from point A, when you get to Z, you want to repeat it. So if Mr. A cultivated cucumber, let's say between January and April, he might want to start again. He might have that cycle in the wet season. He might have another cycle in the dry season. And these are two different production cycles with different challenges. So if you have a production cycle, you want to start from start to finish, and then at the end of the day, you want to repeat it again. So coming back to the business plan I spoke about, it is very important you count your costs. Sometimes we tell farmers, you need to sell before you produce. What does that mean? You have to think markets. Not because I like cucumbers, then I want to go into cucumber production. What is the market telling me plant? What are the customers or consumers asking? And then one thing people don't understand, we keep on telling them, the most difficult or challenging period in production is the time where farmers make good margin. Amidst this crying and shouting that there's no tomato in the market, I can assure you, I know guys that are smiling to the bank at this time because they actually made provision and they actually were able to produce in this challenging period. Because to start with, there are varieties for all seasons, for tomato to be particular, right? So if you start with the right seeds, which has the right genetics to actually overcome the challenges of probably heat, bacterial wilt, viral diseases, bacterial diseases, whatever it is, the genetics count, because one thing that remains constant, your farm input, whether fertilizer, water, pesticides, weedicide, or whatever it is, remains constant. The great variable in the equation of production is the genetics. If the potential yield is capped at 20 tons, whatever you do, you cannot exceed that. But if you already put in place good genetics with the right agronomic practices, at the end of the day, you will be able to get good yield. It is also important to note that with genetics, is a story of you cannot give what you don't have. Meaning you need that potential capacity in that seed that you're growing in order to make good returns. You also need to seek expertise in the sense that you might not know it all. We still are learning, it's a journey. We stop learning the day we die. So there are people who want to invest in agriculture with no expertise. And the biggest mistake they do is to seek half-baked expertise. So you need to be mindful, you need to be watchful where you seek your advices from or who you engage in your business plan and the implementation of your business plan. Mobilization of resources, that is also very important. You need to count your costs before you set up on a journey. So good you have a very good understanding of the journey you're about to embark on. Listen to people's experience, learn from experience. There's no need to reinvent the wheel when you already have players in the sector who are actually making it. Sometimes I've seen situations where farmers or people who want to go into agriculture, because they've actually purchased a parcel of land or inherited a parcel of land, then it is mandatory that they have to cultivate on that land. Whether it's arable or not, they don't care. In agriculture, there are arable lands. There are lands that you also need to reclaim because they are bad. There are lands that you also need to run away from, not to invest on such lands. So you need to be very careful. It's also important that we seek the right technology, because if we don't seek the right technology, we will be wasting money on a technology that does not count. If you look at Nigeria, we have different geo-ecological zones. I wouldn't say because Engineer Daniel in Delta has done it this way. The next question you will see on our group is, please give me all your production cycle and all that you do. No, it's a different ball altogether. You need to do it yourself. And simply because he's getting 80 tons per hectare and I'm getting 1 ton or 20 tons per hectare, means that I'm not doing something right. And then there are times where you see people with this wild idea because people are making it. The guy has no experience and he wants to go 5 blown hectares with tomato. That is really a disaster. You have to start gradually. Once upon a time, a baby was born. Once upon a time, he did not just start running. He had to learn how to sit, crawl, put a step at a time, and then after a while, you see the baby running. Same thing with agriculture. Don't start on large hectareage. Learn all the mistakes on small parcels of land in different seasons. Get trained. People don't want to spend money for knowledge. They are only out for what? Piecemeals. So please, seek knowledge. That will really help. Exchange knowledge, share knowledge, buy knowledge. Knowledge is very expensive, right? So these are the things you need to look at. You also need the right partners in order to mitigate your risks. You don't partner with the wrong chemical company. You don't partner with the wrong seed company. You don't partner even with the wrong farmers. There's a B2B learning. If you partner with the wrong farmers, it means you're preparing yourself to what? To fail. So be very careful. And of course, don't forget the topic we're discussing today, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is a reality of life that we see around us. And whether it's good, bad, or ugly, I think there are lessons to draw. For the good ones, you continue to capitalize and do the good things and the good experiences you hear from people. And of course, for the bad ones, you run away. The ugly ones, sometimes it's beyond our control because it has to do with natural disasters. But of course, it can be mitigated. And the last point I also want to buttress is understanding markets. Because at the end of the day, you're not consuming whatever you cultivate with your family or your neighbors. It goes beyond that. So before you sow your seed, be rest assured that the market is happy to absorb it. You will wonder why some people don't struggle to sell. They actually have produced in a very difficult season, meaning even the middlemen are ready to even come to your farm to pick if they know the product is there because it becomes very expensive because of scarcity. I've once watched a video from a farmer whom, if he takes his cucumber to Port Harcourt, once he parks his vehicle, he steps aside and the buyers will begin to drag. At that point, you're a king. And at that point, you can tell them your price. It will not be a case of a middleman going to negotiate, like the story we had from Mr. Ishaku, and he comes back to dictate his price. No, at that time, you dictate your terms, you dictate your price, because you know the worth of your product at that particular season you're growing. So I have a few slides to flip through because I'm coming to the end of my presentation. Can I see the slide, please, displayed?
Sir, please, a minute.
No problem. So I'm using those slides to conclude, meaning there are scenarios where we see the bad and the ugly, but on the other flip side, there are farmers who are smiling to the bank. And these things are doable if we employ the right technology. It's doable if we're able to stick to the rule of the game so that we don't get disqualified by the bad and the ugly. So please, experience has shown us that agriculture can be a profitable venture or business if we do the right things, which is a rule of the thumb. Next slide, please. This shows us how our farmers apply fertilizer. And this is a man-made factor because we're lazy. The next slide is showing you by the left-hand side, good agricultural practices with tomato, yet you have another farmer having it on the right-hand side, and yet he wants to break even or have a good return on investment. The next slide, please. Next slide, please. Oh, this is also cucumbers. You can see on the left-hand side how beautiful, organized, and neat the field looks like. But just beside it is a field of yet another farmer doing the same cucumber, wanting to compete in terms of revenue with the other guy. We also have another picture of cucumbers where you can visibly see the fruits hanging, while on the other side, it takes forever to look for the fruits to even harvest. Next slide, please. Yes, this is not the part I run away, but it's the part that I should say thank you. Thank you very much.
Which Dr. Usman says is the most important part. Thank you so much, Hadiza. And we are really low on time now. I think we should just quickly go into the question and answer session. We have a few questions. Some of them have been answered on the chat, but I'll just pick a few from the chat. Engineer Daniel says his question is directed to the second speaker. That's Dr. Usman. On citing insecticide, herbicide, and fungicide, do you see a human life-threatening chemistry or a crop life protection chemistry, just like paracetamol is to human? For any side you dance to, any explanation? That's the first question directed at Dr. Usman.
Okay, hello?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, I think it's a two-way, you know. The chemicals are affecting the life of humans, and also when you keep applying this pesticides, it gets to a point that even the pests begin to get resistant to them. So it's a two-way, you know, is in two ways. So as it threatens human health, because most of these pesticides, farmers don't allow them to degrade to a level where they can be consumed. Sometimes you see somebody applying pesticide and harvesting it the second day. This is going to affect human health. And the overdose also can have effect, or the persistent application of one type can also lead to resistance, and then it's going to build up more of those pests. Instead of destroying them, it tends to build them more. Yeah, I think I agree with you, engineer. I think is the two ways.
Thank you. Mukhtar Adiremi is asking, how can one prevent fungal and bacterial attack both in open field and greenhouse? I will direct that to Adiza.
Please, can you take that again?
Okay, how does one prevent fungal and bacterial attack both in open field and greenhouse?
Okay, I must say, if I might have to discuss this, it will take us hours, but then let me see how well I'm able to summarize, because the guy is talking of greenhouse and he's talking outdoors. For fungal diseases, these are related to the
We can't hear you, Adiza. Okay. While we wait
I
for
think you
her to
lost me.
come.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you lost me. The
Yes.
network trip. Yeah, so I
Yes.
was talking about fungicide. There are preventive, there are curative, there are preventive and curative fungicide. So it is good that you know when to put your preventive in order to prevent it, whether indoors or outdoors. But then, of course, for fungicides, you really need to read the label because it has a prescription on it, and most people don't know because of the residual effect. For some fungicide, you cannot spray more than 4 times. 3 times in the life cycle of that plant. And then you need to know how to interswitch between curative and preventive or curative and preventive fungicide. And then for bacterial wilt is a very difficult one to deal with. The cheapest and easiest prevention for bacterial wilt is to get resistant varieties, and that is the seeds. For bacterial wilt, indoors, outdoors, it all depends on your type of irrigation. Your irrigation method goes a long way in spreading BW in your fields. And there are other ways you can treat your soil to get away with the BW infestation, but I bet you it's very expensive because you have to heat the soil over 300 degrees centigrade for several days, which you might not even have that facility available in Nigeria. So these are a few ways you can deal with BW and fungal infection in your fields. Greenhouse, outdoors. Thank you.
Thank you, Adiza. This question is directed to Dr. Usman and it's from Augusta Adebayo.
Hello, am I audible? Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much. There's a question here for Dr. Usman from Augusta Adebayo. Please, how can we get the students that are willing and ready to work? So the students you have trained very well that can work with us on our farms would like to get information on how we can get them employed on our farms. Dr. Usman, please.
Yeah, that's a great one. We, just like I've said, our students, they have worked with East West, they work with Syngenta Foundation, they work with Bayer, and they work with Premier. So they have experience within the industry. So we have a lot of them who are ready to go for the SciWest industrial working experience that take 4 months. We also have some who are available for 1 year industrial working experience, and we also have those who are available for full-time work. So depending on your need, you can reach out to me, Provost of Samaru College. We'll give you our best students to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you so
maybe
much.
you can share my contact with her, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, doctor. Can we share your contact on here? Is it okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, we'll do that now. Thank you. There's a question here which I will direct to Hadiza. It says, recently, a lot of vegetable consumers are calling demand clarification on GMO seed, that the GMO seed are made to affect our reproductive system, looking at the hybrid seeds we are importing. Hadiza, would you like to talk on that, please?
Yeah, very interesting. It has been a burning issue for the past at least 1-2 months, right? And I think the person has an idea of what the issue is, but the context of which he's even asking are not vegetable farmers to start with. So to educate you further, we have for seeds, the OPVs, the open pollinated varieties, which can be from seed companies or it can be farm safe seeds from the farmers themselves. The next level is the hybrids, and hybrids are not GMO. Hybrids are conventionally bred by the breeders by crossing the pollen grain and the anthers to be able to come up with what? Good varieties. But then GMOs has to do with genetically modified organism, which can either be a plant or an animal. And then it marvels me that most people cannot distinguish between GMOs and hybrids. Anyway, you might not be able to distinguish when you see the fruit or the produce. But I think every company has a declaration to say, my products are GMOs. And as far as I'm concerned, for vegetable seeds in Nigeria, there's no single GMO in the market. For every company that is coming up with GMO, there has to be a declaration, right? And the burning issue, the talk of town or what has gone viral is on maize, killer maize, right? There are a lot of controversies from time being on GMOs, hybrid. People don't know the difference. So to clarify, not vegetable farmers, please, because Nigeria is yet to have the first GMO vegetable seed. All the seeds you see in the market are either hybrids, open pollinated varieties, or farm safe seeds. The subject of debate, GMO, is really a dicey one, either from the religious angle or from farmers' side with little or no knowledge on what they talk about. But then I will not take side for or against. But then that thing that I know is we have a lot of scientists working day and night in order to see that we are food sufficient. But then there's one thing I try to educate people, and I leave this question with you today. The question is, will I say I am hungry and I go to bed without eating today and I'll die in the next 10 days, or I eat and I live for the next 10 years? Because I cannot afford not to eat to say, hey, it's GMO. To start with, what we consume without the GMOs is what is disgusting to start with. Recently, I was in the market. I saw the way they were handling cow leg and cow head. Even today, the guy just blew his nose, and the next thing I saw, the same water they were washing the cow leg was the same water he washed his hand. And I told my kids, some of these things is better we don't see. What am I trying to say? You eat a lot of things that are even worse than GMOs that you don't see. The budget tomato you go to buy happily because of economic reasons might be even more disastrous than what the hard work our scientists are doing. So I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hadiza, for that. Thank you very much. We have a question here from Lobukoba. Please, what is the best method of controlling snails devouring leafy vegetable in home garden? So pest control snails.
Okay, I think I will take that because I was a victim of snails. And I'm sure Dr. Usman is also part of my story. When we had the international field, and of course, some of our staff on this platform, and Engineer Daniel, because we had a long discussion on snails. Snails can be very destructive. And good enough, the person said home gardening. Your best bet is physical control. Picking the snails and destroying them, or you rear them, or you eat them, whatever, right? You have to pick them, and you will not see them during the day. So you have to go out for snail scouting very early in the morning, as early as 5:30, 6:30, and the guys are done. And then you have to wait over in the evening, because once the sun is setting at around 6 p.m., 7 p.m., the guys are out again for their nocturnal activities, right? So when I found the snails we had from the Samaru College of Agri and shared with Engineer Dan to say, these are the snails we're able to pick from the field. He said, you have not seen anything yet. I pick snails bucket full. So at this point, I would want maybe if Engineer Dan can also shed some light as from the chemicals, the powder we put on the field, your best bet is to pick them. Is Engineer Dan on the call, please? Help me.
Good evening, engineer.
Not so.
Regarding the question of
it's good I take the person who asked the question back into how we started seeing in our farm. So at the initial stages, we were just seeing it, we were thinking the snails are not harmful. So just let them, the crops were mature then. So after we closed the cycle, we started a new production. So that new production, the snail destroyed close to 80% of our plants. So we started thinking of what to do. So we think of using a worm force to kill them, but it didn't just work. When you put worm force in my region, the rain is always falling. So rain falls, the worm force goes away. So the following day still will come. So we try to explore some other means to get rid of them. So the one that worked very well for us goes like this. Early in the morning, we will come to farm to pick them. I have about 10 workers picking snails. So they will pick it for the first 30 minutes. From 6:30 till around 7 o'clock, we pick snails. We pick a lot of them, very, very many. Sometimes we can pick up to 4 20-liter bucket of snail in the farm. So pick them, we'll break them. So when we did that for 3 days, the pressure dropped. So we applied little more force to plants. So we were able to reduce the harmful effect on our young plants. So if the pressure is not that much in your farm, it's very, very easy to manage. 1 or twice picking, you get rid of them. Then if the pressure is much, try to study your farm, know where they are coming from. So you can put one force on a part, just like a band on the surface. So anyone that crosses that at any state that crosses it will die. So if you do that, I believe it will work because we have done it, it has worked for us. So it's a very good strategy. Even now, there is still a field I'm still trying to treat it because we want to plant there. We observe that there are so many snails there. So it's no longer a plant life-threatening insect if well managed. Thank you. I hope I passed the information right.
Thank you, engineer. Yes, you did. And thank you, Adiza. Dr. Osman, participants are asking for your email address as well. If you would like to share with us, so share with the participants, please. Thank you. Akila De Mobolande is asking how they can get regular training on vegetable production. These sessions, we have these sessions every other month. So in the month of August, we're going to be talking about vegetable production also. If you would like to get more information, you want to join our webinars, please post your email address and your WhatsApp telephone number on the chat so that we can invite you when we're having the next session. The next session will take place in August. There's a question here. So actually we have, I'm going to take 2 questions together. 2 people have asked how they can prevent wilting in tomato farming. Then when is the best time to plant tomato and cucumber? Salami Ibrahim. So Adiza, please, would you like to take those 2 questions together because of time? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I also want to give opportunities to some of my colleagues to speak. And
okay.
The question as to when to plant, I think it depends on where you are, but one good thing with East West Seed, we plant all year round, but you need to know what to do. So can Dami come on board if he listens to the question clearly? Is Dami Lola in the house?
Yes, and I think he has his hands raised, so he can take that opportunity to speak
Can
as
you
well.
hear me?
Yes, Damilola, you raised your hand earlier, so you can
Thank
take
you
this
so much.
opportunity
Yes,
also to speak.
yes. I think I type on comment section
additional chemicals that can be used, agrochemicals that can be used for snail, which immediately after Engineer Dan's comment, I think it's available in the market. So I don't know how I don't know the company importing it. I think I've seen it in some of the markets, right? The name is, I think they actually name for the name is Moldy Seed. So it's available in the market. Just I will just add to that, for you not to be able to use much, trace where they are coming from. You know the time where they are coming out, right? They will always work in mass, right? You can trace it back and know where they are. So put the chemical there in powder form, like Adiza have mentioned the other time, right? So then how to manage bacteria, which is the other question that I would like to attempt is you go for variety that is resistant to that bacteria diseases, right? Wilting diseases, actually, wilt are bacteria disease, actually. So all of our variety are resistant to BW, right? They are stronger than, but we can't get it wrong with platinum and padma, right? With your disease resistant when it comes to tomatoes. For pepper, right? Aside you want to do in greenhouse, that's where you can be. We will advise you to maybe be sure of your soil, but we have I'm just coming from my farm. If you hear me driving, I just harvested my sweet pepper on the farm, right? I've not been on the farm for a very long time, right? So our Kaveri in sweet pepper is very rugged, plant on the ground directly, right? Amazing. You can't get it wrong. At least maybe if they are even experienced any with maybe it's 2%. I mean, out of 100, you can just see maybe 1 or 2 that is going to be weak. There will be weak eventually. But if you know how to prune very well, you're having 100%. For our habanero super, you'll likely not have anyone wilting, right? So go for resistant variety whenever you are thinking or experiencing wilt, either bacterial wilt, fusarium wilt, persistent wilt, as the case may be. Our variety are resistant to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dami. I think I have a last question. I don't know if we have reactions from the participants. We can take 2 comments from the participants, 1 minute each. So if you have a question or a comment, please raise your hand and we will ask you to speak. So the last question I have here, I'm going to read it out. It's a long one from Henry Mwaguma. He says, production is best when we already have off-takers beforehand. I think Hadiza mentioned that. My understanding of production here and the submission I am watching suggests there isn't any form of coordination or synchronization. Makes one wonder if we cannot do better. There is absolutely no coordinated production. It's everyone to themselves and their luck. If the produce gets into the market when the prices are high or favorable. It probably explains the dips and spikes that characterize our agricultural supply systems. If my submission is wrong, do guide me, please. My question really is there any form of coordination? If yes, by whom? What's the mechanism? Hadiza, I'm directing that to you. I don't know if you'd like to redirect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Folake. I'm trying to wrap my head around the question because it's so lengthy, right? The person is actually talking about understanding production here. And if there's any kind of coordination production, well, I would say most farmers are producing in their silos, meaning there is no form of coordination. Where you see the most of the coordination is with our friends, the middlemen. They have a fast way of disseminating information. Oh, onion is 50,000 naira per bag in Sokoto, oh, in Lagos is double the price or triple the price, right? But for production, I think we're yet to see coordinated kind of bodies, except for maybe the field crops. You hear of rice, you hear of maize. These are strong associations that the producers are well aligned and have their activities. But for vegetables, I can tell you no, I've not really heard of. But from the marketing side of vegetable, yes, there's a very strong coordination. I don't know if I've answered the person's question sufficiently.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Adiza. You know, I've always often wondered why we have the coordination amongst the middlemen. They're even better coordinated than the farmers. I don't know why this is so, but unfortunately, that's the way it is. So maybe this calls for a rethink and is form of strategy amongst farmers. Let's see how we can get together as one and be coordinated. Thank you. So we'll take 2 reactions, 1 minute each, please. From Assam Agro, you can unmute yourself now. We're giving you 1 minute because of time. And we'll take from Mr. Saheed Adams, 1 minute each. Thank you. Mr. Assam Agro, please go ahead and give us your comments in 1 minute. Thank you.
Good evening. No, thank you, Madam, for the opportunity of, unfortunately, I might not be able to say what I had in mind, but maybe just to say thank you. We appreciate this forum and, of course, the discussion so far. There are lots that are bothering me, but time won't allow me to say that. However, on the point just mentioned last, beside vegetable, I do fish farming, and I know that for a while in the past, the price of fish used to be very poor in terms of the catfish that is being produced by farmers when you compare to fish like Titus and others. But today they are almost apart in terms of pricing because there was initiative to make sure that there is a proper control in the farm. In fact, they went as much as determine who is to sell when, and then the pricing. So I think for crops and every other thing, this is a step that can be followed, and it has to start with someone, with a group of people, and then they can spread it throughout the whole, maybe the state or sections or region and all of that. If that is done, you will have a value for what we are aiming at. Other than that, the middlemen will make you look as if you don't have hope, which is what used to happen with fish market before. They will tell you, keep it and feed it until maybe when you finish your money, you will sell for us. So I think it is a step that somebody mentioned it, means it is something that we can work upon, and I would encourage us to do that.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Asamago. Please, let's take Mr. Saeed Adams. 1 minute for your contribution. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Aino. Adiza, good to hear from you again, and the rest of the crew as well. So in the area of coordination, I think it requires concerted efforts, not just by talking, but actually by doing. I have 1 or 2 information that I think may guide some people. In the area of horticulture, there are some efforts in the Southwest to actually form an association that will have, at least at the regional level, some representation of the states, moving down to the local government areas as well as time goes on. This is something that is just starting off. I will just encourage every one of you. I think there's a WhatsApp group already existing. There's a website already existing. You can please chat me much later. We can have conversation on how you can join if you're in the Southwest, how you can join such association. I believe from those kind of association, you can now begin to push for policies, push for even starting with internally, first of all, some kind of regulation around production, around scheduling, around marketing, around prices as well. So I think we can, that's a starting point from my side.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Adams. You can just share your, you can share your contact details so people that are interested can get in touch with you. For those who are asking for the slides, if we have your email address, we will send you a recording of this session as soon as it's out. So if you want this recording, please send us your email address so we can send it to you. Before we say our final goodbyes, I would like to once again introduce or call on our very good friend and my brother, my partner, Mr. Ahmad Liman, who is the Managing Director of Royal Blue Contractors. Mr. Ahmad, please say hi to us, unmute yourself and speak. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ahmad Mohammed Liman from Royal Blue Contractors Nigeria Limited. I would like to use this opportunity to thank the speakers, Mr. John Adeyemi, Dr. Usman, and Mr. Ishaku, and to thank each and everyone that finds time to actually attend this webinar. Thank you so very much on behalf of Royal Blue. We really appreciate it. Thank you, East West, for bringing us together. Thank you, Mrs. For hosting this webinar. Thank you so very much, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad.
Yeah.
So I think with this, we have come to the end of this session. If we don't have your email address, please send it to us. And please remember that the next webinar on vegetable production will take place in August. We will send you the details if we have your contact details. So on behalf of VD&S Farmers Center,
Mr. Said is here. Sorry. Mr. Said is here.
Okay. Mr. Said, please post your contact details. Thank you.
I'll do that.
Yes. So on behalf of VD&S Farmers Center, we want to say a very big thank you to Royal Blue Contractors, to East West International, and our speakers of today, Mr. John Adeyemi, Dr. Usman Ibrahim, Mr. Ishaku Jilem Sam, and Mrs. Adiza Yaro for once again enriching us with knowledge that people are spending a lot of money to get and they're giving it to us for free. We want to appreciate you, our great farmers who set out time today to attend this webinar. Our aim at VD&S Farmers Center is to positively impact farmers' lives and businesses, and we trust that we have been able to add value to you. For further questions and clarification, please contact us at info@vdsfarmsonline.com. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Good night.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.